Hey there, got a real busy day today. A lot of stuff going on. I've been pretty busy trying to keep up with things here at the farm, and today is Monday, but generally Monday is a project day, but we're getting pretty caught up on projects, so I have a lot of other stuff to do, and so I'll take you guys along and give you an idea of what's going on here at the farm. But got a bed or two to flip, we got some harvesting to do, I want to update you about hedgerows and some of that stuff and do some planting. First thing for today is pulling out these crops here and flipping this bed, and this was an interplanted bed of lettuce and green onion, and you're probably wondering why I'm going to pull this green onion. It's not selling, and sometimes you have to make adjustments in your crop plan based on the demand from your customers, and that's definitely the case with green onion. In the past, I sold a lot of it, and just not this year. So for whatever reason, customers don't want it, I'm not going to keep planting it. So I did get a really good harvest out of the lettuce in the interplant here. I'm going to pull this out and flip this, and then we'll plant carrots. So the bed flip went pretty well, as it usually does. I got that process really dialed in and I'm really happy with it, but there's a couple things I want to talk to you guys about the bed flip process and slight things that have changed and just things to talk about. But before we get into that, I need to take a minute to talk about today's show sponsor, which is Growing for Market magazine. Growing for Market is an incredible organization that's been in existence for 30 years. They have an online and print version of their magazine and an online archive of 1,600 articles for you to check out. The articles are written by people that know a ton about growing, and there's a lot of really high quality content in there. I really recommend you checking them out, and I have a coupon code for 25% off, and I'll leave links down below for all of their information. And I want to thank Growing for Market for not only providing this great information to the growing community, but for sponsoring this channel. So let's get into talking about some of the changes and comments about the bed flips. If you're watching this video, you probably are familiar with how I do my no-till bed flips. But basically, you leave the roots in the ground whenever possible, Broadfork, add compost amendments, tilth it, and then rake it, and then plant. And that's how I do all of my flips. If you're looking for more detailed information, I'll leave links to videos down below, as I usually do for related videos to this topic. A couple of pointers here. I noticed that the Broadfork didn't really do very much, and it's partly because the soil is in great shape. And I have the benefit of, this is the first year of rebooting the farm here, but there was a farm here, a year before that, and for 2 years I was doing no-till vegetable production here. So in most places here, the soil is in great shape, and just after a couple of bed flips, it's really loosened up and getting the soil activity going, get the roots in the ground, all that stuff. There's a couple of parts where I'm growing on where haven't been growing on before, so there is some heavy clay under there, which will take a little while, but I'm anticipating not having to Broadfork much next year. We'll see. I might, as of now, it's part of the process. I'm Broadforking on every bed flip. The other thing I want to point out is that amendment mix, and I will leave a link down below for a video that I detail all that. It's been really good. I just want to update you guys. I think I originally said I was doing 3.5 pounds per flip. I'm doing 4 pounds. I'm just going a little heavier. Just because I'm just rotating these beds so often. And one thing you want to keep in mind with those natural amendments is that you're not necessarily putting that in the ground for this rotation. A lot of that stuff takes a while for the soil biology to break down and make those nutrients available for the plant. So the stuff I'm putting in the ground now is probably not for this flip, but for future bed flips and future crops. So keep that in mind. Now going in here, I'm going to put some carrots in the ground. I've grown a lot of carrots, and I've been having really good luck with Mokum. They're a quick grower, but I just want to be careful to not just grow the same variety all the time, because if I have pest pressure or crop failure or something like that, I want to have a little bit more diversity. So I'm going to plant some sugar snacks in here now, but I'm going to be alternating between varieties just so I have a diversity here in case something happens, and I'll have a different dates of maturity as well. So hopefully it'll work out in the end. So yeah, I'm just gonna put some carrots in the ground, put the drip lines back in, and water it in. Carrots I find to be pretty easy. The hardest thing is getting them to germinate, and what I found is you just got to make sure the soil stays moist, and I just do that by hand watering in addition to all of the irrigation that's in here. If it needs a little bit more, I come in and hand water it. I will make a video eventually about carrots, but you guys know that I don't like to make specific videos unless I'm really confident in what I'm talking about. So I am experimenting with quite a few varieties and spacings and stuff like that, and eventually when I get comfortable with it, I will make a video, but I do want to experiment with some other varieties. So I've grown Mokum and Sugar Snacks, and I want to try out Bolero and Napoli, or a couple other ones I want to try out and see how they work in the system here. But overall, carrots are great, and I think it's something that my customers really, really love. So I'm gonna go start up some soil blocks, and I have some plants that I need to get started. All right, so I got some lettuce to seed out here, and while I'm doing this, I can talk to you guys about a couple things. I think summer is the hardest part for farmers, and that's for a few reasons. And I think this will depend a lot on, you know, where you are and your season and months and stuff like that. So this is just what's going on for me now here. You know, one thing in North Carolina, it's kind of a blessing and a curse because we can grow year round, which is great because there's, you know, there's money coming in all year, and, you know, we love growing food, so we can do that year round, but also we don't really get a break. And yes, I could take a break, but frankly, like, I can't grow food, so I will. I think that's, you guys know, if you guys are growers, you guys know what I'm talking about. And I think a lot of people come out of the winter time, you know, you're stuck inside, it's cold, you're like amped for spring, things growing, and you come out strong, and you got a lot of beds to build and projects and lots of transplants going out. And then you kind of get in the groove where it's just production time. It's just harvest, plant, harvest, plant. And I think that can get really hard, especially as the heat rolls in for the summer. You know, here it's very humid, and it can be tough physically working outside, you know, in the middle of the summertime where it's usually over 90 degrees every day and very humid, so that can be really tough. And also, things grow really fast in the summer, so like you have to really stay on top of things. Winter growing is great because if you miss, you know, harvest at one point, you know, it's easy to, you know, wait a week or a couple days and catch it. But here, when it's ready, and the weeds are growing really fast, and you know, you just really got to stay on top of things. And I think for me personally, it's been hard to stay on top of successions. I'm really trying to stay on top of my lettuce planting. Now that it's growing so quickly, it will tend to bolt quickly too, so you have to make sure you just have enough to continue to have that harvest going to keep your customers happy. So I'm just gonna keep planting this out, and then we'll talk about some of the hedgerow stuff, because I just want to update you on some of that stuff. Got the lettuce seeded out, and I also got some new stuff seeded out here for all the hedgerow stuff. And again, the reason I'm doing this hedgerow planting is to put in plants that house insects, for beneficial insects, which are insects that attack pests in my crops, and also to host plants that attract pollinators. So I got a lot of great advice from Jennie Love of Love and Fresh Flowers, also the host of the No Till Flowers podcast. I'll leave links down below for all of her stuff. Amazing lady, very knowledgeable. She gave me some ideas for some plants, and I'm not very knowledgeable in this stuff, and I think it depends a lot on where you are, and so I can't really answer a ton of questions about it, but I'm just going to give a lot of things a try and see how they grow in this context. I'll show you what I got going on here, and then we'll show you where everything's at outside too. So we got some pink molly grass, some caryopteris, some spirea, and if I'm botching the pronunciations here, I'm sorry, echinacea, hyssop, mountain mint, and stevia. So these are all perennials, and so we're trying to get things started. These I bought as plants. These are all seeds, obviously, we just started. So this is what we got going here. I'm just trying to create a big diversity of plants there to host a lot of different kinds of insects, and it should also look really cool too with different colors and flowers and stuff like that. So let's show you what's going on out with the raised beds and also in that in-ground bed that we have going on. All right, so we got these birdie boxes filled up and planted, and some stuff you brought over seeds and we started a long time ago. So right. Gene, what do we got planted in this one here?
Well, all three boxes and around the corner are somewhat planted the same with dill, milkweed, bee balm, and then in the corners I just direct seeded last week, and they are popping up a couple different sunflower varieties.
Okay, so that'll be cool. We'll get different heights and colors
right.
and stuff.
And so basically planted the same thing around the corner. I didn't do sunflowers over there, but I did do something different. When we go over there, we'll look at that.
Okay, so I showed how we filled up these beds.
Right.
The only thing that's you planted, and then you put some wood chips on the top.
Yeah, and as these plants get a little bit bigger, I'll come back with some more wood chips. I just went with a light layer to hold the moisture in for now.
All right, cool. Let's go check out what's behind here.
Okay.
All right, so this is that hedgerow that we built months ago, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the ground here, and I'll leave a link down below for the video where we built that. But what's going on out here, Gene?
Basically the same thing we did over in the 3 raised beds, just going along the end of the 2 tunnels, same 3 plants, plus 2 blueberry bushes. And I think once this fills up with plants, it'll be a nice backdrop from looking through the tunnel from one end to the other. The blueberries are a real good pollinator and attract a lot of birds and whatnot. And we've got a bird house here at the end.
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't realize that about blueberries is they can host a lot of beneficial insects and pollinators and stuff.
Right.
All right, so we left a lot of space here for these plants to get larger. Obviously, like blueberry bushes will get large. We got milkweed, which gets pretty big. But we're also going to fill this in with some of the stuff we just started.
Right. Yeah, it'll fill up, but we'll also add to it. And but I'm hoping by the end of the summer, the beds will be nice and full with a big variety of plants, and that's what we're looking for, a variety to host the different pollinators and beneficials.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Also, it should have a lot of different colors, which should look nice out here too.
That too. That to make the farm look nice.
Yeah, and I think that's always underrated. We've talked about that a lot. Is like make the farm look nice, not just in clean, no weeds, but just have flowers and things around to make it attractive.
Right, and the first goal was for the beneficial part of it, but then it's a second benefit of it looking nice.
Awesome. Really excited about this.
Yeah, same here. And down here at the end of the tunnel, especially when it gets nice and full, when you look from one end of the tunnel down, you'll see lots of things growing, of course, in the tunnel, but here on the end, big blueberry bushes and other things growing.
All right, and I think the other thing that's great is we put this together for basically no cost.
No cost, just
a couple
stuff we'd been breaking down, leaves and whatnot.
Some seeds we had to buy.
And seeds, yeah.
But yeah, looking awesome, man. All right, so along with that same idea of, being super busy in the summertime and keeping up with things, it can get tough. And another one is like, harvesting crops like cucumbers, fruiting crops like tomatoes or eggplant or peppers. You got to stay on top of it. They get too big really fast. And the cucumber season is on right now, which is great, but I came out here, I have to harvest these every couple of days. So you just really got to stay on top of things. And sometimes it can get really hard, and it's okay to admit that. And I think you just got to make sure that you're taking care of yourself and, make sure you have enough time to rest and all those kinds of things, because it's a long growing season and there's a lot to do. All right, so not a huge yield, but again, this is every couple of days, so it just adds up, and I just keep them in the fridge throughout the course of the week. And I got another succession planted over here, which I'm really excited about. Hopefully these keep selling, but they produce a ton of fruit, and it's a great crop. It takes a lot of work to get it set up and get it trellised and pruning and all that stuff, but then once they get pumping, they're great. And so now I'm gonna start working on some of the carrots, because there's a bed that I need to empty out, but also I got a pretty big order coming in this week, and so I don't want tomorrow to be too crazy. Tomorrow, Tuesday, is usually the day that I do all my harvesting, but I want to try to push ahead just a little bit. So I'm gonna start pulling out some carrots. All right, so this is how I've been doing carrots lately. I have two bins here with me. One is for the carrots, one is for the tops or any carrots that are damaged or too small or anything like that. So yeah, just pull them out. Luckily with the sort of soil practices we have here, I don't even have to fork them or anything. They just come out of the ground super easy. All I do is I just take a little twist here, and that's how the chefs have been really enjoying them, and they'll keep for a little while in the fridge too. If you don't sell them all one week, they'll be fine the next week. So I just go through here and do this and get a bunch of carrots. It's pretty quick, and then this goes into the compost bin. Got those carrots all washed, and they're just drying a little bit, and I'm gonna bag them up in a few minutes. And I guess I'm starting to have to split the harvest between Monday and Tuesdays. Just all the orders came in for the week, and man, this is the biggest week I've ever had on the farm, so I'm really excited, but just gotta figure out how to work through all the logistics. I have a video coming up. I'm gonna go through all the actual details and nuts and bolts about selling to restaurants, from getting orders, communicating with chefs, how I do my invoicing, how I do my packaging, how I do my delivering, all that stuff. I think that's gonna be important and helpful for some of you guys out there. So hopefully summer's treating you well and you guys are in the groove, and don't burn out. Make sure you're getting enough rest, drinking enough water, and planning ahead and making sure you get through the summer, because it can be definitely tough mentally and physically. So hopefully you guys are all doing well out there. Thanks so much for watching. Please hit subscribe if you're not already, and we'll see you in the next one.
I can see it.
All right, we just
I can't see it clearly without glasses. So,
Oh.
so if we're not in focus, I wouldn't know that.
All right,
because
well,
it looks out of focus.
I'm the director, so
okay.
we're all good, Gene.
Well, if you're asking my opinion.
Okay. All right.